Hello everyone, this is Madhu Dharmapuri. Welcome back to our channel Passionate About Physics. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe and watch these videos. In the present video, I am going to explain about the path of a charged particle in motion in uniform magnetic field. So we are studying the motion of a charged particle in uniform magnetic field. The question is, does the path of the charged particle in motion is affected when it is moving in the magnetic field? The answer is definitely yes. To know more about this, we have to recap our knowledge on the force acting on a charged particle in motion in the magnetic field. So in the previous lecture of mine, I have discussed about the force acting on charged particle in the magnetic field, and that force is called as magnetic force, and the expression is this. This is the magnetic force acting on the charged particle Q, which is moving with velocity v in the magnetic field B, and this is the force acting on the charged particle. And if you expand this, that is the expression Fm equal to qvb sin theta n cap, where qvb sin theta is the magnitude of this magnetic force acting on the charged particle in motion, and n cap will give you the direction of the magnetic force acting on that charged particle. So if this force is acting on that charged particle, then what happens? So it is simple. For example, imagine any object, if it is moving in a particular direction. For example, let me show you with small object. For example, this is the object which is moving in this direction. If some force is exerted on this moving object, definitely this object will try to move in the direction of that force. For example, if the force is acting on this moving object in this direction, this will try to move in this direction. If the force is acting on this moving object, in this direction, this object will try to move in this direction. So basically, the force is the main reason for the deviation of its original path. So similarly, the charged particle is acted upon a magnetic force on it when it is moving in the magnetic field. So if the force is acting on that charged particle, definitely there may be a change in its path. There may be a deviation in its path. Right? But it is not true in all cases, because the magnetic force sometimes will become zero on the charged particle. In the previous lecture we have discussed it, where if the angle between velocity and magnetic field is 0 or 180 degrees, the magnetic force acting on the charged particle will vanish. So if that is the case, the magnetic force acting on that charged particle in that case where theta is equal to 0 or 180 degrees, so then the magnetic force is not acting on that charged particle, then in that case the deviation of the path may not be there. So what we have observed till now, so magnetic force acting on the charged particle in motion in the magnetic field is the main reason for the deviation in path. If that is not present, you may not observe the deviation it's on the path of the charged particle. So we will see different possible cases and study that in which case the path of the particle is getting affected, and if it is getting affected, what is the shape of its path. So that we see case wise, one after the other. So the first case I am taking, if the angle between velocity of the particle and the magnetic field is 90 degrees. What is theta here? It is the angle between velocity and the magnetic field, which means that the charged particle is entering the magnetic field at right angles, so that the angle between velocity component and velocity of the particle and magnetic field will become 90 degrees. If that is 90 degrees, from this expression we can write that the magnitude of this magnetic force acting on the charged particle in this particular case will be simply QVB, because sin theta, if theta is 90 degrees, so sin 90 will become 1, so QVB. This is the maximum force that is acting on the charged particle in motion when it is entering the magnetic field at right angles. So if this is the maximum force, and also we can observe from this expression that the magnetic force is always perpendicular to the velocity of the particle and also perpendicular to the magnetic field direction, and hence we can observe that the force is acting on that particle in the perpendicular direction, and it tries to pull in the that particle in the direction of force. So and hence the charged particle will trace a circular path. For example, if it is moving in this direction and the force is acting perpendicular to it and it tries to orient in that direction, then at the next point again the force is perpendicular to the velocity and again it tries to orient in the force direction. So at every instant, at every point of its path, the force is always perpendicular to the velocity of the particle, and hence that charged particle will trace a circular path. So what is the path of a charged particle in motion when it is entering the magnetic field? It is a circular path. When it is circular path, if it is entering the magnetic field at right angles, the velocity and magnetic field, the angle between them is 90, then we will observe that the path of that charged particle in that magnetic field is circular. So if that is making a circular path, then where does the centripetal force comes from? The centripetal force, the necessary centripetal force is provided by the magnetic force itself. The centripetal force is, what is centripetal force? The force acting on a particle in circular motion, that is mv square by r, where m is the mass of that charged particle and v is the velocity of that charged particle and r is the radius of that circular path, or the distance of that particle from the center of that circular path. So as I said, the magnetic force is providing the centripetal force for that charged particle to trace a circular path. Then we can write QVB equal to mv square by r. QVB equal to mv square by r. And one more important thing we can derive from this concept is, as I said, force is always perpendicular to the velocity of the charged particle. We can also write that it is perpendicular to its velocity like this, and we can write like f is perpendicular to its distance or displacement. Then in that case work done will be f dot dx, is usually we write work done as f dot dx, and fm is perpendicular to dx, so fm dx cos theta, cos 90 is 0, so we will get work done 0. So what does this mean? So if work done is 0, so magnetic force is not doing any work. The magnetic force is acting on the moving charged particle, but it is not doing any work. That means that the velocity of the charged particle will not rise. The kinetic energy of the charged particle will not rise. I mean the speed of the charged particle in motion in the uniform magnetic field, when it is moving at right angles to each other, it is constant. Speed is constant, the kinetic energy remains constant, but remember velocity of the particle will always change at every instant of time. The direction of the velocity changes, but the speed of the particle will remain constant and it does not gain any kinetic energy. So what is speed? Speed is nothing but the magnitude of the velocity. So magnitude will remain constant, but it keeps on changing its direction. That is why the charged particle traces a circular path. So this is very, very important. So magnetic force will not perform any work on the when it is acting on the charged particle in motion in uniform magnetic field. Why? Because the magnetic force is always perpendicular to the velocity of that particle. And by using this expression, let us try to derive the expression for the radius of that circular path. As I said, the path traced by the particle is circular. Let us try to derive the radius of that particular circular path. So I am going to use this equation for deriving that radius of that circular path. So from here, if you can take out R will be mv square by qvb, and v is cancelled with this square, you will get mv by qb. So what is the formula for R now? mv by qb, where m is the mass of the charged particle and v is the velocity of that charged particle and q is the charge of that particle and b is the magnetic field in which the charged particle is moving. Remember one more thing, I forgot to tell you that I have used a word uniform magnetic field. So what does that mean? Uniform magnetic field means that the magnetic field magnitude as well as direction is constant everywhere. So it is constant everywhere. For example, if you consider this specific region, if you measure the magnetic field magnitude and direction at every point of this region, it will become same. It will come same. So then only we call that the magnetic field is uniformly distributed over a particular region. So we are talking about only that kind of magnetic field, which is uniform magnetic field. So we are studying the motion of a charged particle in uniform magnetic field. Okay, remember this. And now using this expression, we can also write various formulas. For example, we know that mv is momentum, where p is the momentum. So R can be written as P by QB. And we can also write momentum as kinetic energy and momentum relation P square by 2m. So by using this, we can write P as, so I am taking K as kinetic energy, we can write P as under root 2mk. So if that is replaced here, R can be written as under root 2mk by qb. And sometimes the kinetic energy is also written as K is written as qv, which means that when the charged particle is accelerating through a potential difference v volts, then the kinetic energy of that charged particle can be written as q multiplied by that potential difference. So if it is the case, the k can be replaced with qv, then R we can write it as 2mqv by qb. 2mqv by qb. So these are the various formulas you can remember for the radius of the circular path. I am just keeping all of them in boxes. They are very, very important. So this is more important than this, but in some examinations they may ask anything to find out. So in that case, so these formulas are very helpful. So now, so let us try to derive, because I am saying that the motion of a charged particle is circular in motion. The particle which is entering this magnetic field will come back to its original state because it is a circular motion. If it is coming back to its original state, so we can say that the time required, the time taken for that particle to come back to its original state once is called as time period. So let us try to calculate what is the time period for completing one complete cycle for that charged particle. So for that, what is the time period? Time is written as some distance by velocity. Distance by velocity is nothing but time. So distance is how much here? The particle is tracing a circular path, and the distance of that circular path is nothing but circumference of that circle. So what is circumference of circle of radius r? It will be 2 pi r, and the velocity is v, it is moving with. So t is 2 pi r by v. So we know what is r. So 2 pi mv by qb. 2 pi mv by qb is the expression for time period. So t equal to 2 pi qbv, it is here, and you have to cancel them, so that 2 pi m by qb. So this is the expression for time period of that charged particle. So using this time period, we can also find out what is omega. What is omega? Is the angular speed of that particle. So angular speed of the particle is omega is two pi by t, which means that we know t 2 pi by 2 pi m by qb. So qb comes here, and 2 pi cancels, you will get qb by m. So what is the next formula we have got? The angular speed as qb by m. We can also derive a formula for frequency of that charged particle. The frequency is nothing but 1 by t, which is nothing but omega by 2 pi. Omega by 2 pi is qb by 2 pi m. qb by 2 pi m is the frequency. So which means that we have also got another formula qb by 2 pi m for the frequency. So I am keeping all the formulas on the board so that we can infer some important point from these formulas. If you carefully observe these formulas, that only the radius of the circular path is depending on the velocity of the charged particle. We can see there is no v in the other formulas, but v is present only in the case of radius of the circular path. So r is depending on v. R depends on velocity of the charged particle, but t comma omega comma f are independent of velocity of the charged particle. It doesn't mean how much velocity the charged particle is having. So every time if it is tracing a circular path, the time taken for completing one cycle will be same. That is what this is very important in entrance examination. T, omega, f are independent of v, but r is depending on v. So based on this infers let us try to write some worth noting points, right? So one of the worth noting point, for example, consider a magnetic field. As I said in the last lecture, the cross symbol represents that the magnetic field direction is inwards. This is magnetic field direction is inwards, and it is uniform magnetic field, same magnitude, same everywhere, same direction everywhere. Now imagine a charged particle of charge plus q and mass m is moving with velocity v1 perpendicular to the direction of magnet. Because we are discussing theta is equal to 90 degrees, the theta is angle between V and B. So this is the case we are discussing. So V should be perpendicular to B. So how do you imagine this? This is B, it is inverse, and the velocity is this. So they are perpendicular to each other, so theta is 90. So then in which direction the force acts? This is perpendicular to both of them. Fleming's left hand rule. So this is the positive charge, for example. So just stretch your fingers like this. So your forefinger represents the magnetic field direction, middle finger represents the charged particle motion. Current direction, basically what is current direction? It is the positive charge direction, motion direction. So the force here will act towards left side. So in that case, so the particle will move in this direction, and at every instant of time the magnetic force acts perpendicular to the velocity, and hence it completes a circular path. Now imagine if the same particle is the other particle, not same, with same charge and same mass, but moving with a larger velocity, as I have explained, v2 greater than v1. So in this case, as I said, the radius of the circular path will be bigger, but the direction of the force is same as explained here. So here what will happen is it traces a big circular path. For example, this is R2, if this is R1, R2 is greater than R1. R2 is greater than R1. So till now I have explained what is the direction of magnetic force with the help of Fleming's left hand rule. But we can also use the other rules to predict this direction. This is quite interesting. You can also use your palm. For example, if it is a positive charge, use your right hand. If it is a negative charge, use your left hand. So for example, I have considered a positive charge here. So how do we predict the magnetic force direction instead of Fleming's left hand rule? So if it is a positive charge, use your right palm, and the palm should be like these four fingers should be in the direction of the magnetic field, and this thumb should be in the direction of the velocity, and right hand should be used for the positive charges, right? So in this case, this will be the direction of the force. This will be the direction of the force. So which is why it is moving in this direction. The circular path is in this direction. So similarly the case here. But imagine if this is a negatively charged particle. For example, if this is a negatively charged particle, let me take another particle of having negative charge moving in this direction with some velocity. So in that case, what will happen? So for that, you have to use your left hand and keep your four fingers in the direction of the magnetic field, and thumb in the direction of the velocity of that negatively charged particle, then the force will be in this direction. Your palm is the direction of the force. So now what will happen to this negatively charged particle? This will trace a circular path again, but in the opposite direction. So remember this. So Fleming's left hand rule can also be used for the prediction of magnetic force, but we can also use our left and right hands. Using palm rules, we can predict the magnetic force acting on that moving charged particle. Remember, thumb represents the velocity direction and four fingers represent the magnetic field direction, and the palm represents the force direction acting on the charged particle. So this is the circular path for the negatively charged particle entering the magnetic field at right angles, and this is the path of a positively charged particle entering the magnetic field at right angles. Both are tracing a circular path, but the force acting on those two opposite charged particles is in the different directions. In this case it is this direction, this side, and in this case it is this side. So that is why it is bending that side, and that is why this is bending this side. So hope you have understood all these things, and hope you would have found some good useful information. So please do like my video if you like it. Thank you very much.